Tēnā koutou katoa, good evening and welcome into The Breakdown. Well, the All Blacks are 3 from 3 in the July series, but where to now for the rookies? The world's best player, Ardie Savea, is on the move. We'll tell you all about that in just a moment, and we head across to Paris to catch up with our New Zealand men's 7 side before the Olympic Games. It's a big welcome in to Jeff Wilson, Justin Marshall, great to have you joining us today, and Sir John Kerwin, who I have to say, JK, you're looking very handsome without glasses. You can see.
Thank you, Kirsty. Yeah, I can see. Yeah, I can.
Do you want my glasses?
Yeah.
Are you sure about that?
I can get you a deal and get them done.
You give me a deal. Fair enough.
You look like a changed person. Great to have you with us again. But big news in the last hour. Ardie Savea, the world's best player, is moving from the Hurricanes to play his Super Rugby at Moana Pasifika from next year. He signed with New Zealand Rugby through to 2027. So 3 seasons. He wants to do it for his family, for his culture, and to play alongside his brother, I'm presuming. JK, is this a good move?
Beautiful, beautiful. I just need to ask some questions. So Moana Pasifika pay the 185 grand that a top super player would get, and New Zealand pick up the rest. Is that how this would work?
Look, right from the very start, though, Moana Pasifika had in their terms and conditions the fact of Super Rugby they could have 3 All Blacks as part of their squad. This is great for them. This is great for Ardie Savea to play with his brother again. It's certainly
yeah, no, that's
helpful.
all beautiful.
Yeah, I know, but
what I'm interested in is New Zealand Rugby are paying Ardie
but
to
he's
play
playing
for
for the All
Moana
Blacks. But he
Pasifika.
plays for the All Blacks. He plays 10, 12, 13 tests for the All Blacks, Justin. So when I look at him and his legacy and around New Zealand Rugby and what he's done, I'm actually also excited for the Hurricanes because there was a logjam of talent there.
Yeah.
The form of guys this year who played so well, Devon Flanders, you had Braden Yossi, you had Peter Lakai, Duplessis Kirifi. I think in some ways with Ardie now going to Moana, if that brings other players with them, it gives them a chance to be stronger, more competitive, and they were better this year under Tana Umanga and Tom Coventry than they've been in the past. It gives them another step forward.
It does. And I just look at the bigger picture as well and think about exactly what you said. This year, the Hurricanes functioned without Ardie Savea, and you know we're very close to being in a final. So there's no doubt that I think the move will be massively advantageous to Moana Pasifika because of the numbers that a world-class player like Ardie Savea will bring. It's a good decision, and to be fair, it might freshen him up a bit. You know, like he's been at that one franchise for a very long time. And there's nothing like getting something different when you turn up for training each day.
I'm not convinced.
Well, we can tell that.
I'm not, John. No, I'm not convinced because and I could be wrong, but the idea of Moana Pasifika for me was always to grow Pasifika rugby, and especially from Pasifika.
But those players can learn that are around Ardie Savea about what it takes to be a world-class player. So that will help them grow.
By me being more competitive every week as well.
Yeah.
And the fact that I know how difficult their seasons were when the fact that they weren't able to win some games and more games, and it's gone very, very quickly. It'll still be challenging for them. But I think let's see how this plays out.
Is it good for Ardie?
I'll tell you what, as long as he's there for the next 3 years, there's no more sabbaticals, and the fact he's there for 3 years, he's committed to that, to the next Rugby World Cup, and there's a wave of support in behind him, then I think fantastic.
Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I want Moana Pasifika to do great. I think it's the greatest thing for rugby, so don't get me wrong. But is it good for Ardie Savea if they have another season where they're second to last? Is that going to help us as All Black fans that Ardie's going to come from possibly having to do extra or struggling?
It'll be the workload, yeah.
It'll be a bigger workload.
Massively, yeah. He'll have more
responsibility. We've all played in teams that haven't gone so well. I remember one of my worst seasons ever when I went to second division in Italy, and I just played terribly because I was too worried about doing a whole lot of jobs. So is it really good for the All Blacks that he's going to Moana Pasifika? I'm being selfish. It's great for Moana. I get your arguments, people.
We'll find out. We'll find out.
I get your arguments.
Hey, congratulations to Ardie Savea for making the decision for yourself, for your family, and he's with the All Blacks for the next 3 years until the Rugby World Cup as well. He was on show in San Diego for the All Blacks against Fiji, and so too were 6 rookies. The All Blacks didn't drop a game over the July window. They used all 32 squad members. Razor said it was a success, plus they had a couple of extras, and Darry and Hotham. So what do you do now with the rookies? Who should be retained in the starting 23, if any, and when do the others get a second crack?
That's $1 million question, I guess, isn't it? But I think probably the satisfaction out of how those rookies came on and with real maturity went in and adjusted to the fact that some of them had to be thrown into the mixer when they weren't expected, like Noah Hotham. how they performed. Now, yeah, exactly. You're going to have players coming back and players coming in. And where do they go from here? Look, they grow, hopefully, from experience in what it's been All Black. 3 of us have been All Blacks. From your very first test match or your first game, when you went out there and running out there in that jersey, did it make you thirsty for more?
Totally.
And they will be thirsty for more. It'll make them better players. And I think that's the massive success out of it.
I think there's another thing that's really, really important for this group of players. We haven't won the World Cup since 2015. We need to find a new DNA or an extra DNA and a different type of player if we're going to lead the world again. So these young guys, I think not only they need to be hungry, but they've got to bring themselves very, very quickly. And Tossi comes on, makes a break, passes on the inside. That puts pressure on the incumbents. And I think if we're going to move forward, have we seen what our DNA is yet, Goldie? What's our new DNA under Razor?
Do you know how many times we're going to play in those conditions this year? Probably once, those conditions, where it's about 27, 28 degrees, it's hard, it's fast, and no humidity. You think what we've just played, no, but that doesn't happen perfect conditions for our style of rugby. I want to show some clips and show the highlights of our skill set in these conditions. Just run the footage about what we're able to do in this type of game, and the fact we're playing on top of the ground. Guys aren't slipping over, the ball is dry. All of a sudden our passes start to stick. Our defence, our alignment's good, guys are running onto the ball, guys are in support, everything's on top of the ground. Look at this, timing's perfect. Once again, guys running into space and holes, Justin. And to me, I look at this and go, this is perfect for our skill set right now in terms of what we've always been able to do.
Yeah.
But we weren't able to do that in Auckland because it was a little bit dewy, a little bit wet. You go down Dunedin, it was cold. We'll go to the Northern Hemisphere. The only place you might get these, similar but not with no grass on the turf, this looked like artificial, is in South Africa, for example. You might get it up in the high veld, you know. So for me, I think this was perfect for us to showcase our talents against a team that didn't show up.
So that was a false reality.
Well, it's not a false reality. It was a really nice performance when we've all been in All Black teams where we expected the All Blacks to win this game, right? And how they went about it, I think, was fantastic. Senior players delivered, platform was brilliant, and our young guys got the opportunity to do what they're capable of on top of the ground. That wasn't my question.
That was not my question.
It might not be your question, but I'm explaining that game to me.
I'll ask you
that game.
And you can both answer it. Are we seeing, is that our DNA? What you just showed on
That's
screen?
what I was explaining to you. That's what we're able to do in those conditions.
Yeah, if it's our DNA, then it has to be able to play in any condition. Can we do it against a rushing defence match?
No.
Is that what we want to see?
You won't have that space and time. No.
So what's our DNA then?
Well, we've got to learn to beat that blitz defence. And some of those movements that you highlighted are exactly what you need to do that. You're not going to have the time, but equally, as long as the players are all expecting and are running at that depth with that type of precision and the handling is clean, then yes, you can execute against blitz defence. But it will always look good against lateral time and space defence, which is different than what we're going to experience later in the year.
I think we're starting to see a little bit of it, because if you remember back to the first few minutes against, or 10 minutes against England in the second test at Eden Park, they actually threw it around, tried to give it some air, tried to run the opposition off their feet, right? How are we going to beat South Africa? Not going to beat them at their own game, so we've got to run them around.
Yeah, which we did successfully a couple of years ago at Ellis Park. Literally run them off the park. They had to replace the entire front row before half-time.
Yep.
They couldn't handle the pace.
But then you'd go to a Rugby World Cup final where it's a little bit of rain.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you can't do that. And you're saying you can't rely on this one set of DNA. You have to be adaptable.
Yeah.
There are things that you have to grow, and we're trying to grow young players, and that's what this test match I think was perfect for. Like I said, we've been there in this situation before when you're an All Black. We got young guys coming in, Justin, JK, and all you want to do is deliver them the game so they can go out and enjoy it. Well, those young guys got that opportunity. It was the perfect scenario to blood new players in. But that's not the reality of what the top sides, the world-class sides, are going to bring in terms of heat and pressure and expectation.
So do you not think that anyone that played in San Diego, any of these changes, the Caleb Clarks, the Ethan Blackatters, Billy Proctor, will none of them make the starting 23 in 3 weeks' time?
Oh, I wish you hadn't looked at me.
Over anywhere?
Well, I think what we spoke about yesterday, Marshy, when was your hardest time? My hardest time was when Goldie, Inga, John Timu were charging at me. right? So if you...
Pressure from within.
Yep.
Totally.
I like that.
Totally. So what happens now is Dalton has seen how Ethan played.
Yeah.
Right? TJ Perenara is strapping up his knee because he's seen Noah come on and act like he's been there for 20 tests. That is the greatest thing you can have for form, is someone breathing down your neck.
So if you're taking stock, we've played 3 test matches and ultimately we've had 3 wins.
Yeah.
And I always look back to the start of the season, we got to this point 3 weeks later, would you be happy? Yeah, you'd be happy with 3 wins. How you've got those have been very, very contrasting between the 3 test matches. Had to work really hard for those 2 against England. But I just want to show a stat over the last 10 years, just to keep everything in perspective, about when you play against the top sides and when you play against everybody else. Had it not been for the 2 games that Argentina have created history in the last 10 years, we win 96% of our test matches against everybody else. The big 5, and this doesn't include the British and Irish Lions, which is a win, loss and a draw, 70% of them. That's what I'm going to judge this All Black team on. Yeah. And I'm certainly giving them a big pass mark after 3 tests, because of those big 5, 2 of them are against England. So we've got to a position where I'm sure they're satisfied, they're happy to where they are now. I really wish there was another test match this week, because I'd love to see what they're going to do. Now, I suppose we enjoy the sevens coming up this weekend at the Olympics, next weekend, and then we focus
What
on
do you
Rugby
do
Championship.
against Argentina then?
Well, how many of these?
What have we
goals do you-
created from yesterday? We've created, with internal competition.
Knowing Scott Robertson and knowing him well, he's not the type of coach to give away All Black jerseys. I think what he's done is exactly what you have said, is create pressure from within. Those players earned their jerseys, all of them. And they showed that they earned them by the way they performed, off the bench and Billy Proctor starting. So all of a sudden, that starting 15 or starting 23 against England now know that if they don't step up or if their form fades, those players are more than capable of filling their jersey. And I think that's healthy, because it makes everybody lift.
So
I think that's what we've got out of that.
If we talk individuals then, yesterday you both said that Billy Proctor's put serious pressure on Rieko Ioane. What is his best position in the All Blacks, Jeff? Is it on the wing? Is it at centre?
Look, Rico's vastly experienced. What Billy Proctor went out and did is, fundamentally, he was accurate in everything you need to see from an All Black centre. And look, he ran great lines. Defensively, he was really strong. But once again, he's not going to have this time and space against a big and physical defence like South Africa. Argentina, you know, that's going to be at Wellington, that's at Auckland. You don't know about those conditions. So all of these things are going to change. But you just mentioned it, Justin, and same for you, JK, is that when he goes out and has to deliver, he's going to put pressure on everybody else, right? So now we know what he's capable of. Does that mean he starts ahead of Rieko Ioane in a big test match? It's going to be a different challenge. What it has done is said, here's a guy that can, this is what he can do. If Scott Robertson and his coaching team decide that's the skill set they want, then he'll get his opportunity.
There are things that you will be selecting people on against, like Goldie just said, the top 5. So what Rieko needs to learn to do under pressure is give that last pass. That's the only thing he lacks, probably. He is incredibly strong, getting us over the advantage line now. He's running really hard lines. The lines that you saw Proctor do, you know, last night against Fiji, he would have had a blinder yesterday, Rieko. But what the pressure comes on is, we need you to make that last pass, Rieko, technically. You do that, we don't have too many problems. If he doesn't get better, that's when they go, oh, Billy, you get out there and have a crack. So Rieko will know that. It'll be on his things to improve list. But now he's got that pressure that really motivates you to go, well.
Can I mention something there, though? He went a whole season not passing the ball with the Blues, because that's not the way the Blues played. They were direct, they were physical. The fact he wasn't using the soft skills, the fact they were playing in a lot of games, once again, at night. There was a couple of afternoon games, but they were blunt force trauma through the middle, and that's what he did really well. Really strong defensively. We should never underestimate the use of his speed and how he can save the day defensively quite often. But in terms of those passing skills, didn't do a lot of it through Super Rugby. And I think it's taking him a bit of time to get back into the habit. And against England, you weren't going to get a lot of opportunity to do that. He missed a couple of opportunities there. It's something he'll have to work on.
But overnight, he hasn't become a bad centre or a bad player.
He was awesome last year.
And I certainly feel that he would have learnt a lot from that series. I think he's capable. He's got the ability to deliver that pass or deliver that performance. And let's face it, he wasn't the only one who got spooked. There were other players that got spooked who should have passed at times when they had the opportunity. So you know, I don't feel that he's going to be a victim yet. He's too good a player.
I was just using your words from yesterday.
No,
that's all.
I'm going to go back to what Marshy said. What we'll see against Argentina, and you heard it here first, is he'll probably go back to the starting 15, maybe put Barrett in if he's helping McKenzie, that played against England, because they've earned the right.
Yep.
They beat England in 2 test matches. So Argentina, you'll go, you're out there again, guys, but on the bench, I might just put Billy. On the, you know, I might Ethan against Dalton, right? So that's what'll happen. He'll go back to the guys that, because they've earned the right. They won their last test match. They've rotated the squad. There you go.
So, Marshy, how would you use someone like Ethan Blackadder in the All Blacks then?
Well, what he has done is he's offered up what they need in balance in terms of the back row. So have a look at some of this imagery, and that's balance. It's about the ability to carry, which he is doing here. It's about the ability to offload, distribute as a loose forward, the ability to clean rucks, check this clean out, bang, get rid of a player. So he's multi-skilled. There's the tackle. We know he's going to work hard. There's another carry. He's going to run hard as well. But what he's doing is offering all different sorts of options. Now, if we're going to have a pause here, this is what I really like. This is the ability for a loose forward to engage defenders, a no-look pass that isn't lobbied, that isn't telegraphed, that is pinpoint perfect and flat. As we roll it on, you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. Goes to the line, nice and flat. McKenzie shovels it on. Barrett does the same, bang. There you have your try. If that pass is looped, the defender drifts off and smacks McKenzie. So what I see from that is an ability, when you've got someone like Ardie who plays the way Ardie plays, you know, he picks and carries and does what he does. All of a sudden, you need to compensate for that, because Ardie won't distribute massively. He won't do those types of passes because he's too powerful at what he does. So the rest of the back row have to complement that. Blackadder in that performance complements that.
And I think, interesting enough, that a lot of people would have thought that Ethan Blackadder was maybe a guy they were looking at 6 and Luke Jacobson was looking at a 7.
Yeah.
They've gone the other way around. So clearly what you're looking at is the way that Ethan Blackadder can impact a game.
The game plan.
And the game plan and the way they're trying to play. I couldn't agree more. It all of a sudden, though, gives them selection dilemmas around Dalton Papali'i, who's been, I think, very good as a backup in the All Blacks for a few years, who's been presented with an opportunity, who wasn't bad against England. That's going to be a selection debate. But I would say this, to your fullback thing, with Beauden Barrett, absolutely. He looked really good on the weekend.
Agree.
He looked really, really good. He was really good last year.
Can I just go back to the loose forwards?
Do you want to go back to the loose forwards?
Yeah, because I would. So Ethan Blackadder absolutely impressed me yesterday. I haven't seen a 7 play like that for a long time. I would play Dalton at 6. I'd play Ardie at 7.
Ardie at 8.
Ardie at 8, and I'd play Blackadder at 7 because he's also a line-out option.
Yes, he is, yeah.
Right? And I think Dalton's bringing what a 6, traditional 6 used to do. But Ethan had everything yesterday, and I want to see that against Argentina and against South Africa, because if he plays like that, gets wide, makes those passes like that, and Dalton will complement him, because you can't have 3 like that.
No.
Dalton will bash people, get up as a line, make his defence, get over the ball, and Ardie will be Ardie, right? Where does that put Samapeni? I'd like to persist with Samapeni, because some of these players at the next level are a bit more slow burners. He'll get better and better, but we're looking for that aggression. And right now, I think, wow, I'd love to see that as a combo.
Yeah,
so back to fullback.
No, but I'm just saying, I just am really, really happy with how Beauden's came back.
Me too.
It was a match-winning performance in the second test, and then all of a sudden, we've got to go to a break.
I know,
we're getting interesting.
That's not what it is. You guys are now playing Beauden Barrett, but don't forget, Will Jordan is coming back and available in 3 weeks' time. So we're going to talk the Rugby Championship, what they do with the 36-man squad, and what you do.
It's not going to get any easier then, is it?
Let's go to the break. I don't want to talk about it.
We're ready to go.
Sean Fitzpatrick, a game changer, Rugby World Cup winner, captain, JK, and a good friend of yours. Yeah,
just a great man as well. Good fun to be with. I roomed with him for a long time. He also changed captaincy. He brought in this group leadership, but just a good man and gone on to be a great statesman for our game.
And this is a guy who would be an automatic selection for the All Blacks. And now this current All Blacks group, well, they have got to take their July series squad of 32 and expand it to 36 for the Rugby Championship. And no added extras for this one as well. No blowing out to 41 like we've seen in the last couple of weeks. So if we're presuming that they just add to the current 32 that are already in there, who are the 4 names that they're adding? Easy
see that?
question, right? JK?
I've never seen so quick.
Exactly. No one's tucking and going.
Give a few of those.
Give us one then. Give us one to start with. An
Who are
automatic.
the names?
Will Jordan surely is the first one. If he's fit,
Will Jordan's
available,
in.
ready to go.
I'm not even talking about that. There's a couple that are in.
Yeah, but why is he important? And in what position do you see him come back in? And here's a guy that, to me, I'd like to see maybe play a couple of games of rugby, and maybe it's for Tasman in the pre-season, but you know he has missed a lot of rugby. JK, I mean, is he an automatic? Just bring him straight back in, and where does it? Is it straight into the 15 jersey, or is it onto the wing maybe to start with?
Yes and no. So yes, he goes straight back in. I think there are some players that don't need to play to get back in, and this is something that I've had to change over the years, years. Some of these guys don't. Look at Blackadder. Like, he'd been out a lot, come straight back in, plays to a high standard. I think Will Jordan is one of those. I think they start him on the wing.
I think they didn't pick a specialist fullback. They took Perifeta, and they knew that Barrett could fill the spot as well, because they were targeting Will Jordan as their specialist fullback.
But what are they?
Razors played him there for the Crusaders. He got the best rugby out of him, made him an All Black. He knows what he delivers from that jersey, and we've got enough talent on the wings.
But does Damien McKenzie not need Bowden Barrett on the field?
Bowden Barrett and Damien McKenzie are going to be jockeying for that 10 jersey because of Will Jordan's return, I think.
I disagree.
Yeah, that's fine.
I disagree. I think what will happen is that if Will Jordan can come back and bring the voice that Bowden does, Bowden will then become the guy that we need him to be, which is like we did against England. Coming on with 20-25 to go, lighting the game up, right? And for me, that makes him even a bigger legend, because try and put you two guys on the bench.
Impossible.
Even at an old age, impossible.
Mate, my toys would be out of the clock.
Exactly.
You know what that's like at the moment, Kirsty,
Mate,
and I'll be stomping off.
I saw you when you got subbed.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant, was it?
It wasn't pleasant
Or when
for
you
anyone
got
to watch.
carded.
Oh, look, I
Yeah, that
agree
takes
with
a lot to do that, but he did that with the most maturity, and you know he really swallowed his pride, and he did it with the most, you know.
But not everyone's going to play every game, right? Not everyone's going to start every game. You're not going to play 14 test matches in the year, all those sorts of things. So, and what's left? We've got 11 to go, 12 to go. So I look at Will Jordan. He's a world-class finisher, world-class wing.
Yeah.
I actually quite like the fact of him coming on the wing and giving us the versatility, then maybe go back to fullback if you want to push Bowden Barrett forward from fullback right now. So I think it's something if you start looking going forward.
Can I just stop you for 1 sec? We are picking the team to play South Africa. We've got to win tomorrow. Let's just...
Yeah.
When we're talking about selection, I just want to put that little nugget in there for you, right? So you're going to start him on the wing?
I'd start him on the wing with Bowden Barrett at fullback. That's just me, but that's the way I look at it.
So he's an
Will
automatic
Jordan's
name. So who's number 2? Is Sam Cane a guarantee for all three of you?
I think that he deserves the opportunity to prove that he still is where he was end of the Rugby World Cup last year, which was the All Black captain, the starting number 7. He's done nothing wrong to show anything different apart from being injured. And great players, like I said, don't all of a sudden become poor players.
And he fits into
overnight.
that bill of you just said. He can come back and play tomorrow. If he's fit and healthy, he doesn't need a game of rugby somewhere else. He knows how to prepare himself. He knows how to put his body on the line. I think he's been one of the toughest All Blacks when he's been on the field. So for me, I think this is a really nice to have in a squad of 36 going into a Rugby Championship with some transition of players. And if we need him, he's there. If form drops off of anybody else, if we feel as though we need his resilience out there.
His experience.
All those things in the group, because we've lost a bit of that. I think it's a nice to have for the rest of this year and be available to. And I'm with you. Sometimes guys deserve that opportunity.
Yeah.
I think he does.
So emotionally, I am totally with you guys. I hope he gets selected. I hope he plays his 100 tests. Logically, I'm going, he's leaving. He's going to Japan. I want to win a World Cup in 3 years' time. I've got 6 test matches to play on the veldt against. I know what Sam can give me, but why don't I try some of these other guys? He should be in the squad, but what are we going to gain by playing Sam besides winning the test? And I want to do that, and I want to see him play. Don't get me wrong, that's my emotional side. But what's that going to do for us moving forward when we need to prepare a team to win the next World Cup?
Give us great belief about beating and winning test matches. in the big ones.
Yeah.
No, but
It's the best opportunity for everybody else.
I get that. I've already agreed to
that's
that.
What, that's
I got
no, no,
that.
no, but that's
but
what
all I
think
want to see.
he can help us do.
But I know he can do that.
Yeah.
I know he can do that, mate. I know.
But I'm saying for everybody else in the group, help them do that.
But you don't know after that test match whether Ethan can do it or Dalton can do it. That's all you're giving up. Yeah. That's all you're giving up. Yeah. Now, don't get me wrong. I want Sam to be in. I think he should be in anyway. But do we play him in South Africa when we need to know moving forward who is the next Sam?
So you're never going to convince me on this, because I'm very much thinking that we've always looked too far ahead. And I know Razor, he will be going test match to test match. And our biggest problem has been the big picture. And all of a sudden we get tripped up by Ireland, we get tripped up by Argentina. We need to win every test match that is put in front of us. And if he plays well against Argentina, and plays well, and he just continues to play, I don't really care if he's not at the next World Cup, because we will develop regardless, and that's a long way away. I want us winning every test. No one tripping us up anymore. No more damage to our history.
Yeah.
Best players get out there, and if they deserve that jersey, they play.
So you're prepared to win all these and win the next World Cup? We'll lose the next World Cup.
I don't feel that we'll lose the next World Cup, because we'll become that good at winning. We'll become that ruthless that come a World Cup, those players will be that focused that they will win every game.
I actually quite like that.
Another couple of names, because there's another 2 positions, and there was only 3 locks named, Jeff.
Sam Derry's in. If I look at that on his performance. I know Josh Lord is now fit and available, but I think he's got some ground to make up.
How good was he, by the way?
Really, really good.
It was really good when he came on.
Well, I think we got 1 steal on the ball at the breakdown in the whole game. He got it when he came on. So, look, I really like what I saw. He was really good for the Blues after he recovered from injury. He's a given for me in terms of this group. Patrick Tupulotu was able to stay at home. Like I say, he's a guy for me that has grown immensely over the last 2 seasons, particularly size-wise. Really nice start for him.
Big body.
Yeah.
Big body. I think we take them both.
And Josh Lord.
Totally.
So that's your 4.
Well, you take 5 locks, don't you?
No, but I mean, Derry, Lord, Sam Cane and Will Jordan are the 4.
Totally.
Yeah.
And the reason you take Josh Lord is I think there is only one slight weakness in our side, and that is at lock. Depth of lock and big men. A couple of options. We need big men in the middle. Derry's that. Josh Lord's that. I haven't seen him for a little while. I haven't actually seen him in person, but apparently he's put on weight. So he's like, I just think if we're worried about I'm worried about one position, it's lock. Everywhere else, we're pretty good.
36 is a lot of players, Marshy?
Yeah,
that's a lot of guys. And so you could make room maybe for a David Havili, but do we need another midfielder when we've got 4 guys who, 2 have been very, very good at the highest level? And Anton Leonard-Brown was really good as well again, had a really good season last year, and then we've had Billy Proctor show up. So do we need to stop someone? And this is what I do hope, though, is that if there's an opportunity for any of these players to go back and play some rugby in between games in the NPC or for their provinces who haven't had a lot of rugby, then I'd like to see them go back and play and just get some time under the belt, which is Josh Lord. He's been on the sidelines for a long time.
Haven't we got a New Zealand A team going somewhere?
Yes, at the end of the year.
End of the year.
Oh, end of the year.
End of the year.
So what's the other position that you think needs to be filled in this extra 4?
Well, I'm just wondering about midfield, really, to be honest, whether someone like David Havili still comes into the mix.
For Josh Lord.
I think there was a reason behind earlier in the year Scott Robertson giving a directive to Rob Penny to see David Havili play in the 10 jersey. His versatility, that means he can play right across the park. He can play from 10 to fullback. Look, he's another player that has been an incumbent All Black that hasn't really done anything wrong. He's just been plagued by injury this year.
Yeah.
He's still got really good quality. I think of one of the test match at Ellis Park. He was probably nearly our best back on the park. That one I was speaking about a couple of years ago when we beat them after losing the first test. He was very close to being. He offers a kicking option at 12. He's a really good foil as well for the other players that we've got because he's a different type of player.
So someone gets dropped.
What do you guys think about?
Well, no.
Someone gets dropped, a winger.
No,
you think
I
someone
don't think
from
we
the
take 2
original
locks.
squad gets dropped?
Yeah, you've got to drop. If you bring Havili in, you've got to drop him.
I don't think they take the extra lock.
I take an extra back.
I take an extra back instead.
You've never taken it. No one ever takes an extra back.
Yeah, you're right. They don't.
Care.
You can't be a fan of more backs. You have to be a fan of more backs and forwards, don't you? You played in the backs, mate. Come on.
But back in the day, you only took 3 wingers and
Marshy,
took an extra loose forward.
The one position we haven't even talked about is halfback.
Yeah, that's the one.
Which all of a sudden, when we saw and what we got a taste of I know this is going to be a big conversation at some point, but we need, over the next couple of weeks, we'll need a deep dive into that because TJ coming back, you know, where's Cam Roigard? Because I saw him with the team in Auckland, you know.
He should not be rushed.
He had a tracksuit on. So I'm just saying that you look at those halfbacks and you're going, all of a sudden, Noah Hotham did a really nice job when he came on. Cortez Ratima's looked good. I'm not sure about his status right now. So we had 5 guys, right?
Yeah.
He has to go into to 3 positions.
TJ Perenara, by the way, is expected to be available for the Rugby Championship side from his knee injury. Just on the halfbacks, Mashi, what is your overview of what you've seen? We're in a pretty positive place after Aaron Smith, aren't we?
I think early in the conversation we were sitting here talking about our All Black team, and you asked me the question, I found it really hard to pinpoint exactly where we were at and what the thought process was going to be. Ultimately, I'll give myself, pump my tyres a little bit, I got the 3 right, to be honest. But that was simply due to logically thinking about what they were going to do in terms of a blend of experience and then equally talent. And they went for Cortez Ratima. But all of a sudden, Noah Hotham has thrown everything into turmoil because of his performance, and how happy was the coach? He mentioned him not only in his post-game interview with Mills, but equally in the press conference. The way that he came on, his maturity was equal to Cortez Ratima. Like Finley must be a little nervous because, you know, he had his opportunity but then got injured, and now these guys have come through and played really well. Those conversations are a difficult one. Halfback is tough.
Yeah.
I'm really going to, sorry to be annoying, guys, but I'm going to come back to pressure cooker.
You're not here every week.
Oh, okay, yes, okay.
I'm coming back to the pressure cooker, right? So we need to try and get these guys out there because the kicking game against England probably wasn't the best from Damien or Finlay, right?
Agree.
The kicking game was way better against Fiji, but you don't have that pressure. And that's what we need to do. Pressure makes diamonds. We need to try and get some of these younger guys out there in the next couple of years, Marsha. I don't disagree with what you're saying, but I am different to you because I am worried about winning the next World Cup, because that's when the world's looking at us and we need to win one next. So I'm always thinking about how do we prove that Hotham's going to run on against South Africa. It's 15-all on the veldt, and he's got to do a 28 with accuracy. I'm sure he can do it, but that's what I'm thinking about. I'm always thinking about that pressure moment that you got to nail it. And you got to live it first, right? There's no other way than living it.
I love the show. The Pressure Makes Diamonds. This entire show has been all about pressure, and the way you're responding has been outstanding. All Blacks have all started somewhere, haven't they? We're talking about a small rugby club in South Auckland, the Manukau Rovers, who went on a giant killing spree over the last couple of years, and we've made a documentary on it that is coming up right after the breakdown.
It's a story about the power of community, regardless of what you have, or in this instance, what you don't have. With just sheer determination and never say die attitude, anything can happen.
It's a life lesson. It's a story about an absolute underdog and trying to find a way when everyone said that there was no way.
To see our parents, the people that didn't really watch rugby, and see something special that came out of South Auckland, and see their faces with joy and a lot of pride.
Welcome everybody to the world premiere of We the South.
A few people had come down to send us off.
It was overwhelming because it was like, man, look what we've done, look what made us get here.
Man, that was just chills, eh? This is big, you know, this is more than a game.
And you're representing something much more than just rugby. There was like a fire in me.
We were never ever given a chance. We were 100 to 1 outsiders to even make it to the playoffs.
Whatever happens, happens. Win or lose, but I'll be proud to be in Southside, Mangere.
The team of 2022 will inspire generations for years to come. And this documentary tonight's going to inspire even more people for generations to come.
What did you think about the doco, bro?
20 out of 10. Amazing.
For me, it was quite emotional in the sense of how a community and a little club in South Auckland, like I'm just getting emotional, comes together to accomplish something.
I will be telling everyone at home to watch that, you know. We are the South, brother.
I just got goosebumps watching that. No mai, hoki mai. Welcome back into the breakdown. The Olympics are starting this coming Thursday with our men's sevens and football sides in action. And we're so lucky to head across to Paris right now to the Olympic Village where Brady Rush and Scott Curry are standing by. Welcome in, lads, and thank you so much for joining us. Scott, as one of the older heads, I'm curious how this experience is for you, being it third time around. And Brady, first time for you being part of the wider New Zealand team. What has the experience been like for the last 2 days?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Obviously, the New Zealand team welcomed us in with Haka and that, and a wicked porphyry, and it gets a lot of attention from everyone around the village. It's pretty special, so it's an awesome way to be welcomed in, and yeah, it's really exciting to be back at the Olympic Games.
Yeah, and I'm just trying to soak it all in at the moment. It's yeah, quite surreal. Yeah, just trying to soak it all up. It's pretty awesome.
Scott, I mean, it clearly started with Hong Kong. JK was at Hong Kong. That's how long ago it all began. But if you start thinking about those Commonwealth Games, then you bring in a World Cup. But is the Olympics now, Scott, is this the pinnacle of the sevens game for you and for the game itself?
Yeah, absolutely. It's the pinnacle of world sport, and we're pretty lucky that we get to be involved. And I think once you get here, you get a bit of a vibe for what it's like here, and just seeing all the other athletes around, and everyone here has worked 4 years to get to this point and to try and perform the best they can, and we're here to do that as well. So yeah, it's an exciting time.
Brady, I'm that old. I played with your old man, mate. So there you go. He's probably sniffing around eating croissants over there in France at the moment, I'm sure. Beautiful poinamu, guys, and we're really looking forward to you guys dropping a gold medal under those to emphasise the poinamu. But Brady, back in the day, there might have been 3 or 4 really strong sides. I mean, how hard is it to win now? How deep is that standings? Is top 6 or top 8 that can beat anyone on their day?
Yeah, no, it's getting a lot more competitive. I'd say any team on the day could win it. Yeah, like it just goes to show, like all those other teams are starting to win tournaments. You got Spain and all those kind of teams. France now starting to take it out. Argentina, they was pretty tough. And then yeah, the old foes, Fiji, they're always still up there. So, no, yeah, anyone can kind of win it on a day now. So we just got to be up for it. And, yeah, I'm sure the boys are pretty keen to rip in on Wednesday.
Scott, a question for you. Like historically, players do make the decision to stay out of 15s and go to 7s. And this year, we've seen Anton Dupont do that. Is he any good at 7s? What sort of a player is he from what you've seen so far?
Yeah, from, he's made a transition pretty quickly. He played a couple of tournaments early on in the season and then went back to 15s, and he played pretty well, considering he hadn't played much before. He's obviously a great athlete, good rugby player, and then we actually had a hit out against them about a week ago here in France, just a couple of games. So we played against them for a little warm-up match, and he played well again there. So he's obviously a talented player, and he's definitely lifted that French team a lot.
Brady, there's a couple of things tactically I want to ask you, particularly in 15s, if you say control the set piece, control territory, control the game. Are there a couple of things in 7s, when we're watching, are there a couple of things that you know if you control, you're most likely going to win those contests?
Yeah, I'd say the same thing, set piece, territory. But yeah, kickoffs are a big part of the game now. And yeah, there's some pretty amazing athletes out there. So yeah, that's what we kind of try to work on now as well, just getting the ball back. The more you can hold on to the ball, I think it's the better. So yeah.
Scott, just like at the World Cup, we saw teams change the way they normally played from 15s when they go to the World Cup of 15s. Is that the case in sevens, or we're going to see a pretty normal style of game, for want of a better word?
Yeah, I guess there's a bit of a balance there, right? You got to get some things in place that you get really good at throughout the season, and then I guess there's a couple of things that you might want to hold back and bring in for the pinnacle event. So I think, across the board, it'll probably be pretty similar, but there might be a few little tweaks and changes that teams have up their sleeves. So, we do all our opposition analysis and on key trends that they've done throughout the last series. And then I guess there's an awareness piece around the fact that things might change on the day and just being aware of that.
Lads, you can paper, scissors, rock, or look at each other awkwardly as to who answers this question. We'll roll the dice, but I wanted to ask you about preparation. Obviously, it's completely different. Like, you usually go to a sevens tournament and there's other rugby players around. All of a sudden, you're in an Olympic village and you've got all these other athletes around. Like, does it have an effect on your preparation, or is it quite cool to just be in and around those athletes in that different situation?
No, I think it's been pretty cool so far. Most of the boys have been to these kind of tournaments before. I think there's only about 5 of us that are new to the games in the team. So, yeah, we're kind of just treating it like our World Series. We've played a few of those, so it's kind of the same build-up, just with a bigger title to the name. But, yeah, it's been pretty cool, just trying to soak it all up. But yeah, the boys were pretty relaxed at the moment, and I'm sure everyone will start building into it pretty nicely by Wednesday. Yeah.
Lads, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you getting up nice and early in the morning for us. All the very best on Thursday. You know the entire country is behind you, so bring it home.
Hey guys.
Thanks, guys.
Good luck. Good luck, boys.
Cheers. Thank you very much.
Oh, absolutely brilliant. Sky Sport is your home for the Olympic Games. We have 12 dedicated channels, so you do not miss a thing. You can watch it on Sky Sport, Sky Now, and Sky Open is free to air as well. Plus, Brooke Rusco and I will be live at 7 a.m. every morning for your daily highlights show. But for you three, let's have some fun. If you were to pick an Olympic sport to compete in, what would it be?
Can I just say, I absolutely love the Olympics. It's one of the most exciting times for me. I'm a sports lover. It'd be sevens. And actually, I looked at what I wanted to be an Olympian when I finished my career, so I looked at a lot of sports that I could actually compete in, but none really showed themselves. But I thought about archery for a while.
You got a good eye?
No, that's why I gave it up.
He's just had his eyes done. He's just had his eyes done. You'd be good to go now.
Yeah, I'd be good.
If you were to guess for me,
I would have made myself available in a second to go and do sevens.
Yeah, it would have been amazing, wouldn't it? Yeah.
You're a good squash player. Tennis?
Yeah, squash is not quite there yet. No, not tennis. No. Look, hey, come on, marquee event. In the lycra, the 100-metre dash. You can just see me with the shades on, glancing around in the singlet, sort of bouncing around. Come on.
Imagine you battling up the 100.
I'd love it. Hey? Thundering down the track.
I tell you what, I'd say this. I'd go if there was someone or an event, it would be for the middle distance because of our history. I'd love to be.
Oh, the 1500.
1500 or the 800. Peter Snell, John Walker. But to me, I'm a traditionalist around the Olympics. There are certain things that to me have been there right from the beginning, and I will sit up and I'll be watching the athletics as well for me, and the athletics to me, the drama that comes with that, and the fact we're getting exposed more and more to it. I'm all for it.
Zoe Hobbs, how good! I cannot wait to see her in the 100-metre women's event. That is the Olympic Games coming up over the next couple of weeks. Breakdown will still be going strong though. Same place, same time, Sundays at 7:30, but just a half-hour show this time around. But let's look ahead to our next opponent, Argentina. You've already asked, I mean, what do you do there? This is a difficult task, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And I always very mindful of respecting our opposition, and we've all jumped to South Africa really quickly. But Argentina, historically, in the last 3 or 4 years, have shown the ability to not only beat us at home, but beat us away as well. And they are a good side. Under Felipe Contampone, I've been watching them. They've beaten France. They won convincingly with the B team against Uruguay. They will not lie down. So, yeah, we are going to have to be on our game. This is not a series to wander into. We've got to hit it at rocket pace.
I am so with Marshy. So if Sam Cane's going to play this season, you play your best side against Argentina.
Damn right.
If that's Sam Cane, he's out there.
I'm just looking forward to seeing the squad and getting a sense maybe from them the direction they're going, but I agree. But you mentioned it. Winning every test match.
Absolutely.
Building momentum. They've had the perfect start. They're 3-0. You could have slipped up against England quite easily and let one slip away. They managed to fight their way through that, and then they got the result they wanted against Fiji and San Diego. So right now they've positioned themselves. We're reasonably healthy and good shape, so bring it on.
Is that a reality nowadays, guys? Seriously? Winning every test match?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes. I would say win the cups, but let us know whatever we're playing against South Africa, just beat them.
We're winning everything, mate. That's it.
November as well?
Yep. Beat them all.
I'd love to, but I don't think it's a reality anymore.
You know who's the most competitive on the show and who loves the jersey. That's the most part, right? You've given to that legacy and you absolutely love the jersey. Thanks so much for coming along, Marshy. We'll be back next week for the breakdown, and the Olympics start this coming Thursday.
Determination, breaking clear and scoring. Nathan Wong running into a bit of a gap, straightening it up and through. It's Stacey Fuller on the outside. Rotten in from the corner, scores. And a nation that has scaled every other peak in rugby now has